because the main thing was when they had to, they wanted to make a way for this lunar rover,
Yeah.
and they had to carry enough propellant to bring them back. They were going to have to with all of those things, the payloads got heavier and heavier and heavier.
Was it an electric car?
It was what? Yes.
Okay.
No, it was, yeah, it was electric. It was all green.
Oh, well.
They had electric cars back then.
Yeah,
It was like a golf cart type thing.
it was electric. And we had to go into a big weight reduction program and scrimp and save on every single ounce, fraction of an ounce they could. So actually they had to, on our stage, there was a heavy aluminum ring, about that thick, solid aluminum, where the two tanks joined.
Okay.
And it had to be heavy enough to carry all of the structural load during takeoff with those G-forces, which were got to about 6 Gs, as it took off, and he's carrying everything on top of him, which was.
This was on the rocket?
Yeah, on the rocket. About you take about 10 million pounds. I mean, about 10 pounds under 6 Gs. 10 million pounds under 6 Gs has got a tremendous amount of load. You can do the arithmetic. So they had to scrounge around to come up with a way to do that, and they succeeded in doing it. It was a very clever thing they had to come up with. It cost us a few $1 million to do it, but they did it.
And what'd you do on the heat shield? Of like the actual rocket, not the nose cone.
Okay, now we're still talking about the Saturn rocket?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, on the Saturn rocket, I don't know if I ever told you about that, but
Well, it was the thing that they paid you and then you got the Cougar for it.
okay, that story, okay. What happened is, the plans called for a ceramic heat shield to protect the bottom end of the bottom end of the rocket above the engines from the heat and fire that came out of the engines, particularly during launch. And so it was a ceramic.
And this was over the rockets, like.
Yeah, between that and the tanks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And all of the tubing and the pipes and so forth. You had to protect them because they burn through quickly with all that fire and everything down there. And it called for a ceramic, thick ceramic panels, about 1 inch thick. And they were quite heavy. And I was in charge of getting this thing built, and I couldn't get any heat panels. The delivery kept getting later and later, and they're not ready. They move it up and move it up. And so we had to get on some test launchers on that. So as a desperation, I said, well, let's on this thing here, let's just leave them off, and we'll substitute aluminum panels. We'll substitute some aluminum panels in there instead, and that'll be good enough to protect it against the fire, so it doesn't set all the tubes and pipes and everything in there on fire. And since I couldn't get it done any other way, they said, hey, that's a good idea, let's do that. So it saved us about $1.5 million for that heat shield. And so they were so thankful, they gave me $1,500 as a beneficial suggestion. Beneficial. They didn't know what else to do because they had been giving as much as 10% of the savings. But they looked at 10% of $1.5 million. Man, that's 150,000. Man, he'd be richer than any of us around here. We can't do that. So they moved the decimal point again, and they moved it again, and they finally said, well, let's give him $1,500 for that.
I thought you put like some metal on there too, like not aluminum. I thought it was like some thick, or really dense metal. I forgot what it was. I don't know. Maybe that was something else that you did, but I remember you said something about that.
And then I came up with another suggestion, and that even compounded it. And altogether, they gave me $1,000 on that, and $1,500 on the other, and that was just enough to buy me a new Cougar. You could buy a new Cougar for $2,500. Today
That's a nice
you can't
price.
buy. That cost you that much for the tires.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a slick little car. It was yellow and black top. And
You used to haul the boat
yeah.
down the lake with it.
That's right. Now later on, there was some guy, they gave him a $40,000 award because he came up with a saving of $500,000. They gave him $40,000.
Golly.
And I says, gee, what about my $1.5 million? Well, we'll give him a pat on the head. Frankly, I was the first one that ever come up with anything negotiated real life savings.
Oh, wow.
And this was not pie in the sky or let's paint an orange stripe on the steps so people don't fall down or, those kind of suggestions. And somebody came up with a suggestion, put a label on handrail that says, hold the rail.
Oh, wow.
A big deal.
Well, save a bunch of money.
Yeah, or if somebody falls down. But we had interesting times, we really did.